Now we've got quite a quick change now because we need to be finished by 1 p.m. So just as I'm making some, well, not really a summary of what's been discussed over the last 2 days, that would be impossible. But as I'm making just a few points about what I'm hearing, I'd like to call the panel up so I can make those comments as they're coming up to the stage. A few very, very brief points. Business. We recognize the problem. We're committed to solving it. There's a positive message here. Look at what we're doing. We are solution providers. Enable us. Lots of innovation. Also, discussion around business opportunities, which I find very positive. This is about profit. It's about growth. It's about trade. A few words which come up all the time in the discussion groups and indeed in our discussions in plenary. Transparency, standards, metrics, frameworks. They don't have to be perfect. They will improve with use. But we do need a clear indicator of direction. Let's not make the perfect the enemy of the good. Also, there's an interesting conversation around moving towards a better understanding of human needs. Focus on satisfying human needs, mobility, nutrition, etc., rather than focusing on selling more of existing products. And finally, this focus on transformative shifts. The idea that transformative shifts possibilities are out there, that these are cross-sector. Again, don't make the perfect the enemy of the good. Incrementalism won't get us all the way where we need to be. Indeed, there's a risk that it could even lock in some cases, some degree of obsolescence. So those are my key takeaways. I want to move very quickly to the principles here. On my left, Arab Habala from the United Nations Environment Programme. After him, of course, Minister Quesada. To my left, further along, Jorg Kell, the Executive Director of the Global Compact, and to his left, Jim Leap. Arab, I'd like to turn first to you, if I may. Before I think has demonstrated to me that business is really finding its voice on these issues, I want to ask you, from what you've heard over the last 2 days, how confident are you that sustainability has really been internalized by business? And what are the key messages which you've heard which resonate from a UNEP perspective?
Thank you very much. From this meeting, as well from others that we have been organizing in the context of B4E and the different business dialogues, we are really confident that sustainability is progressively being integrated in the strategies of the business sector. Companies are taking over. They are trying to showcase and how they can move ahead, but they cannot do it alone. What we tend to forget is that we need an enabling framework for that. When a company is really willing to move ahead, as what we have heard from here, we have very good messages from here. We have companies who are willing to move on. We have companies that are willing to demonstrate and to show that they can move on sustainability and what we call here on green economy. It's obvious that they can go to a certain extent alone, but beyond that, for scaling up and speeding up, there is a need for an enabling framework where the government has an important role to play, where the consumer has also an important role to play. And such gatherings when we are in a period of crisis, as the one we are going through, or we have been going through for the last 3 years, where it comes almost to a crisis of faith, it's important to see how the companies are reacting positively. The issue is that we tend to focus too much on the problems, on the risks, on the crisis, more than on the opportunities and the benefits. And the companies, the business sector, can really take the lead in showing the benefits on moving on green economy, on integrating sustainability criteria. But as I said, they absolutely need the government for that. And the government have to assume their role in trying to see how we can partner with the business sector. If you allow me an image, a tango needs 2 persons. The sustainability needs a multi-stakeholder approach where you definitely need to find the right combination between government role, business role, and consumer association roles, or where, if you want to put it another way, a good combination between rules, regulations, market instruments and incentives, and information and awareness raising. As I have been putting it, you need a good combination between sticks, carrots, and tambourine. And the side of the tambourine, the business sector can play really a big role in showing the case, in making the information available, in making those practices accessible to other companies, not just limited to the big companies, what we know, but to go through down to the supply chain and share it with the small and medium enterprises. Because at the end of the day, if we want to have a transformative change at the ground, yes, the big companies has an important role, but it has to be done at the level of the small and medium enterprises throughout the world, who have the capacity to do things, but they don't necessarily have the information and they don't have the support either from the big companies or from the governments. There is a great opportunity, or having those partners working together, dancing together, in order to have something that can help us all deliver this transformative change. It's really, we need to move on from just, as we said, increasing, but transforming properly from a structural point of view. And the business sector has a key role, and UNEP is really committed to play its role in a sense that to create the bridges between government, civil society, and the business sector, and this is one opportunity of that, and also identify the partnerships, the public and private partnerships in a variety of sectors where we can really involve the business sector with us. It will be the case under the green economy work we are doing. It will be the case for the 10-year framework of program we're preparing that will be submitted to the next CSD and to Rio +20. Thank you.
Arab, thank you very much indeed. I particularly like the image of business and government dancing together. I think the question then would be, who's leading? And let's hope they don't step on each other's feet. Let me turn now to Jorg. Jorg, this morning the Undersecretary spoke a little bit about trade issues and climate change. I noted on your CV that many, many years ago, as you emphasized to me just now, you did in fact work for UNCTAD in your dark past. But I wondered if you could comment a little bit on the interrelationship between trade and climate change, and also give us a sense of what you think the key messages should be from here to COP16.
All right. First, a tough question on trade. I'm very much convinced that openness and global integration is the best pathway forward to diffuse rapidly best practices around the world. I actually do believe that one of the biggest human experiments we're all working on is building an inclusive and sustainable global marketplace where integration and inclusion is key to it. And the private sector, which in so many ways is already so interconnected, is extremely good in diffusing rapidly solutions, much better than any government intervention can do. So I would strongly argue that let us keep in mind that diffusion of best practices, technology and solutions, market openness and fair competition is surely a key and critical solution in that. And I think we need to reinforce this again and again, because there's often the temptation to go short term and to discriminate, which often actually is a punishment for lacking capacity today to have what others have built over decades elsewhere. And I feel very strong about that in general principles, without going into details. On the key messages for COP16, I feel very encouraged by the meeting here. I think it has really brought about major shifts in mindsets, and many of you, almost all of you, are already leading and champions. No doubt we are working towards a tipping point. We're not yet there. It is a marathon, and the big breakthrough, I believe, that has occurred over the past 2 years is the recognition that we must run with solutions and convince also policymakers that there are so many promising ways forward. If only we were to focus on the solutions more and build them through public-private partnerships, through more collective platforms where we're working on, we actually will make an enormous contribution because we will give encouragement, we will show concrete ways forwards in critical areas, and we will be able to actually help the agenda moving forward on a broader scale. So my message would be we have to redouble our efforts between now and COP16. The World Climate Summit is scheduled for 4-5 December in Cancun, which is organized with many partners, including the Mexican governments. We want to work on that very hard with all partners and make sure that the practical solutions will actually empower also governments to see the positive opportunity side of the agenda much stronger than in the past.